Everyone who has watched Vinland Saga Season 2 remembers the speech Canute gave at the end of episode 22. I wanted to read part of it from you and explain to you how he actually did stop the waves, even though he said he didn't. And in this video, I'm going to break some beliefs, so if you're not ready to have your mind questioned or challenged, I suggest just clicking off and maybe watching this at another time. I'm going to start off by giving a little bit of the speech itself. It will be linked down in the description. Just want to read this for some context. The commander who leads 1,000 ships and 10,000 men. My power exceeds human understanding and makes the impossible possible. Behold, with my power I shall stop these waves. In the name of King Canute, waves, I command you to stop. Did you bear witness to my strength? I am powerless to stop even the approaching waves. This is me talking now, and when you go back and rewatch this episode, and I highly recommend you check the video linked in the description with this whole speech, you do see a couple of seconds to where he does stop those frames, or where he does stop the waves. You might not believe it. You might be like, no, he didn't do it. The waves were just taking some time to come over before actually giving another wave. It's just when I watched the video the first time, I realized he did stop the waves. He did for that split second. And everywhere that I've looked online is saying that he was doing this because he was trying to demonstrate that he couldn't stop the waves. And yet, he did. He did stop them for a brief period of time. Because you see the still of the ocean, the waves, the sunset, like it's a beautiful shot, and there's no waves coming. And then a second later, it does cut back to there being waves. It's just he had to wait for that to happen. And that happens with our own mind. We can freeze time. We can freeze any aspect that we decide to. So let me go back to the speech. I am powerless to stop even the approaching waves. Do you know who drives those waves? God does. That's the part that I'm wanting you guys to understand. Is God is driving those waves because we're allowing him to drive the waves. And it's an idea, it's a concept that's going to take you some time to come around. It's taken me some time, and it's a very deep concept to understand. It's just once you fully grasp this, you'll start to understand that God is actually us, and each and every single one of us is God. And that's why, going back to the speech, humankind cannot find happiness under God's rule. And that's the problem. Within the Western world, we're told that God is outside of us, that God is outside of us, all of our problems are outside of us. The reason why we aren't in the place that we want to be in our life is because of some external force, because we don't have the skills, or we don't have the freedom, or we don't have the power to do any of these things that God essentially is saying that we can and cannot do. And that's why my process, and Canute's process as well, is to be able to unify the strength. So let me go back to this speech. Unless I save these people abandoned by God, I'll never be able to build a paradise. What he says there is more meaningful than I think many of us care to consider, at least for myself personally. A lot of us have abandoned the idea of God because of the individuals that we're surrounded with. The individuals that associate with God, that associate with religion, that associate with having this external source are those that, I want to say, they haven't been able to understand that everything's actually within inside of us. So they think that you have to be outside, you have to be somewhere else to be able to have God's rule and be in heaven, essentially. When in reality, there's other passages that I've been listening to from other channels where they talk about how God's rule is actually within us and heaven is within man. So we do technically have this within us. We just need some way to be strong, some way to be capable, somebody who's willing to unify people. So let me go back to this speech. I am the only one capable of conquering them, ruling them, unifying their strength, and directing them towards paradise. I need strength. I will unify the strength of all humankind to fight God. Now it's back to me. He's not necessarily saying that he's fighting God itself. He's more showing that in order to create a paradise, we have to allow God within ourselves and understand that we ourselves are God, experience everything around us. And when we come to that realization, when we can come together as gods instead of as people, we'll truly understand the strength, the power, and the courage that we have as people or gods. essentially what I've been able to pick up after these past couple of months is I've run into other gods that are awake, that are gods in incarnation, essentially, such as myself. And you may think that that is a God complex. You may think that that is not the way to think. And that's just due to the fact that society has told you that things are outside of you. Everything is outside of you, you're led to believe. Yet, when we look at the Western culture, when we look at the Western world, nothing is outside of us. Everything is within us. And it's just a matter of being able to come within and realize that everything that we have ever been told has been a scam. It has been told to control us in the ways that we want to be controlled. And you might think, oh, this is esoteric, this is unreal, this isn't something that is actually happening. And that's why I told you this video was going to make you question your beliefs and make you believe things that you might not have wanted to hear in the first place. It's just, from what I've been able to understand, having my own personal strength within me and taking responsibility for my own actions and realizing that I can have anything that I want within myself essentially makes me God. And there's no real way to tell if I was the one that was created or if I have created everything around me. It's an idea that I'm going to be exploring over the next couple of videos as well, because it's an idea that I think needs to be shared with more people. And I'm going to do it through anime because I believe that this community of individuals, of weebs and otakus, are the ones that are able to do so, because I believe that we are, I would say, kind of the outsiders in a sense, because we are more intelligent. We have never really had to work for certain things. Most things are just given to us because of our innate skill to be able to be different, to be able to break out of that generational curse or the generations that people have told us who we need to be and how we need to behave and how we need to act. Whereas like the weeb and otaku community, like we don't care. We do what we do. We dress up, we cosplay, we interact, we watch, we go deep into these stories that people may not go into because they don't understand that everything is just created by us, and we were the ones that actually have created these animations. It's just the only way that we as humans right now are able to describe and share these stories is through anime. That's why we have anime, because you can't depict the things that we see within our own head in a physical movie itself. So you have to create it in an animated way, and that's essentially what Canute's doing. That's what I'm doing with this channel, and that's what I hope to hopefully bring all of you to the point as well. So like I said, I hope this helps you guys. I hope you do go watch the whole speech. It gives a little bit more of a breakdown. I got most of the bits that I wanted to, and I wanted you guys to understand that what you think is possible is only because you're allowing yourself to believe that's possible. Once you understand, from my own personal take, of what can happen, you'll start to see that more things are possible. It's just you have to be willing to step out of that comfort zone of what you thought was possible and realize that more things are going to happen to you once you do see and experience things that you never have.